Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto trains to become the best puppet user in the world, and got harem with older woman, part 1. So before we start, please go check out the author of this fanfic, GodricGryff, link is in the description, also subscribe to our channel, and like this video, so let's begin the video. Hokage's office. The Sandaime Hokage sat in his office, thinking long and hard. Soon, he would have to leave the village to go on a diplomatic mission to Sudan. But while he was gone, there was another problem, Uzumaki Naruto. The last time he had left the village, the villagers took that as an opportunity to try and kill the boy, since his only protection was gone. When he returned, he had to fill out 157 death certificates, all belonging to the villagers that were killed by Naruto's Anbu watch, as they tried to attack him. The Anbu were a loyal force, who served their Hokage unquestioningly, most of the time. The Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato, was once an Anbu captain, and had thus earned their respect. The Anbu trusted the Yondaime's sealing skills, and knew that Naruto was not a demon, but a child, and they took their bodyguarding very seriously. Even though there are times when some people do get past the Anbu guard, they are not gods after all. Coming to a decision, he finished up his paperwork before paying a visit to Naruto. Next day, village gates. Naruto was ecstatic. When the Hokage came, and told him that he was going on a vacation to Suna, he was happy. So the 4-year-old was running circles around the old man, and his Anbu escort. So, Hokage Jiji, why are we going? Asked an excited Naruto. The Hokage smiled and said, because I am hoping to form an alliance with Sudan, bringing peace to both our countries. Naruto nodded, as he asked more questions, such as what was sooner, how long till they got there, etc. The Hokage happily answered all the questions. When they arrived in Suna, they were greeted at the gates by the Kazekage and his 3 children. Welcome to Suna Hokage Dono, I do hope your journey was not too bad. These deserts can, after all, be harsh, said the Kazekage. Not at all Kazekage Dono, it was fine. Allow me to introduce Uzumaki Naruto, said the Hokage. The Kazekage nodded his head and introduced his children. This is my eldest daughter, Temari. The middle child is Kankuro, and the youngest is Gar. When all was said and done, the Hokage took Naruto to his hotel and told him this is where he will be staying. He was of course allowed to go exploring. That night, Naruto, ever restless, decided to go out and do some more exploring. While looking around, he was amazed at the way the buildings were built. He went along the north wall and walked around, wanting to see how big the village was compared to Konoha. When he was walking, he heard a creak. He stopped and looked around, deciding it was safe, since it wasn't Konoha, and he was safe here. He continued, only for the floor to give out. A small wooden door collapsed when Naruto stepped on it, and he fell into a room. Dazed, he looks up to see another door slide into place over the opening, and the lights turn on automatically. He looks around, and is surprised to see a large room filled with a variety of wooden parts and scrolls. There was a door on his right, and when he looked in, it was filled with glass jars filled with various substances. He went back into the scroll parts room, and found a large scroll on top of a pile. Curious, he picks it up, and opens it. Hello. If you are reading this, then I have most likely died, or left the village. My name is Akasuna no Sasori. I am the greatest puppet master to ever rise from the sun. I have left behind in this room my lasting legacy. Here you will find parts to make puppets, scrolls detailing on how to make anything from normal combat puppets to human puppets. You will find poisons of all kinds, and how to use them. You will learn how to use seals, and the infinite wisdom they bestow upon us. This room will teach all I know, and you will either become a puppet master, or die trying. Naruto was amazed at what he read. Here, in this very room, was the means he could use to become a great ninja. He wouldn't have to fear the villagers anymore. He smiled, this was perfect. 1 month later. Sandaime was worried. The negotiations had gone on for a month, with the village council proving to be most bothersome. But at the same time, Naruto had gone missing, and he was worried without a doubt. The Kazekage was most eager to find the lad, seeing as how if the boy died in Sudan, it could lead to a major diplomatic incident. Sandaime had just returned to his room after another long day of searching. He was tired, worn out, and sad for he had failed to find the boy. There was a knock on his door, and when he got up to answer it, he was greeted with an interesting sight, an Anbu standing with Naruto. Sarutobi scooped Naruto up into a hug, and said, Naruto, where have you been? I've been so worried. I thought you were dead, said the aged Hokage. Naruto had tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, it's just I was out training. I didn't mean to scare you. Upon the word training, Sarutobi looked at Naruto, pulled him into the room, did a few hand seals to perform a privacy, and asked, what kind of training is Naruto? So, Naruto told him what he found, all he learned, and how he packed everything into storage scrolls. Naruto did leave some things out, such as human puppet technique. That would be revealed later. To say that Sarutobi was stunned would be like saying that Q of Star Trek was annoying, a complete understatement. But thought the Sandaime, he may finally be able to protect himself. When Sarutobi informed the Kazekage about Naruto being returned, the Kazekage were curious as to where the boy had gone. Sandaime lied, and said he was kidnapped by bandits hoping to use him as ransom, but Naruto escaped. He then gave the directions of one of the camps his spies were aware of, so as to throw things off track. On the way back to Konoha, Sarutobi closely watched Naruto. He could most certainly spot changes. For one, the boy was alert and taking in his surroundings with a keen eye. He had the posture of one ready to fight if need be. All very concerning, but he would worry about it once he returned to the village. Konoha, 1 week later, nighttime. Sarutobi watched quietly from the rooftop of the building he was one, using all his skills and stealth. His target, Naruto. He was informed of a crowd of about 20 people heading to Naruto's place to kill the demon. He watched, ready to interfere and save Naruto if the need arises. But right now, he wanted to see what Naruto had learned in terms of puppetry. Naruto watched from his window. He knew it was only a matter of time before the stupid villagers tried to attack him again. He unraveled a scroll, and a poof of smoke later, and a puppet was standing next to him. It was his first puppet. Not as strong as what he can make, but it was impressive nonetheless. It was the color of wood, brown with mop brown hair. It had 6 arms attached to it. Think Kankuro's puppet. He waited in his bedroom when people started banging on his door. Open up, demon, time to die. We're going to finish what the force started. Tonight's the end for you, were some of the shouts. Naruto manipulated his strings. For this puppet he had to use both hands, but he was practicing every day to try and use the puppet with only one finger. When his door burst open, he was hiding in his closet. The people came running into the room, looking for the blonde. What they failed to notice was 6 arms hiding in the shadows, with a blade extruding from each, but it was already too late. Naruto let loose, and the screams that were followed could be heard by the Sandaime on the roof. Nervous, he jumped down, and ran to Naruto's apartment room. When he got there, he was met with a surprising sight. 20 dead civilians, and a smiling Naruto standing above their corpses. When Naruto lifted his head, he said, "Next time they'll think twice." 1 month later. Sarutobi sighed, again. He was in the council room, with the council demanding Naruto die, again. This time, they were using the excuse of Naruto killing the 20 civilians last month, and another 6 this month, as a means to an end. Of course, Hyuga Hiyashi, the most neutral person in the village, and Chief Justice of the court system, reminded them again that it was self-defense and Naruto killing those people, and a person defending themselves is not a crime. The council was furious at this news, except for a few people. Nar, Akamichi, Yamanaka, Hyuga, and Inyazuka were on Naruto's side. The Uchiha, Haruno, the third's former teammates, and the civilians were after Naruto's head. No wonder he had a headache. So, when the arguing for Naruto's death was put to an end, simply because the Naruto Death Squad had no legal options, went to the next agenda. Naruto's use of corpses by turning them into human puppets. It's distasteful. Disrespectful to turn a once human being into nothing, but an abomination, yelled Haruno. Again, it was Hiyashi, who was looking in the Konoha law book, coughing to get attention. He then said, according to the law, when a person tries to kill another person, and they fail, then the body belongs to the killer. It quite clearly says for the fools present who cannot understand that if anyone tries to kill the boy, and the boy kills them, and then their bodies belong to him, no questions asked. The council once again sighed in anger. Eventually the meeting came to a close when the Sandaime, having had enough, said that if the issue is ever brought before the council again without due cause, then he will go to the Fire Lord and have the council disbanded permanently. Needless to say, that shut them up. When he returned to his office, he sighed a sad sigh. Naruto, I am truly sorry for having let the village force you to resort to this. Can you ever forgive me? Naruto's apartment. Naruto has changed since his return to the village. He was no longer the boy he used to be, he was now a cold, distant, uncaring individual. Having killed for the first time made him this way. He had learned, finally, that he would never earn the village's respect, no matter how hard he tried. So he settled for fear. However, that wasn't to say he was completely void of all emotion. He would smile around the Hokage, but that was it. He did experience some moments of happiness, such as his human puppets. Since returning he had taken his time, and put it all into puppetry. He wanted to be the best. His new goal was to become the greatest puppeteer on earth. That made him smile. His human puppets made him smile too. After trying, and failing on making human puppets on the corpses of those who tried to kill him, he finally succeeded. Of the 26 that tried to kill him, only 16 were puppets. He lost 10 of them due to mistakes, but he can safely say that he now has mastered the art, to some degree. He still had a lot to learn, that he knew, after all, he was only 4. It would take years before he could become a true master. Right now, he was using a henge, which he had learned from the scrolls, to change his appearance to that of a 20-year-old man with brown hair and brown eyes. He had saved his money, and was on his way to visit the landlord. When he arrived at the man's house, he knocked on the door. When it opened he was greeted with a fat man with balding hair. "Yeah, what can I do for you?" he asked. Excuse me, sir, but I have a business proposition for you. You see, I am interested in buying one of the buildings you own, said Naruto in a fake voice. The fat man straightened and welcomed Naruto in, who took a seat in a chair. Okay, what building do you want, and what do you have to offer? Said the landlord. I want the demon apartment, said Naruto. The man paled. He knew he was talking about Naruto's apartment building. It was a 5-story tall building with 152 rooms. Naruto was also the only person living in it, since no one wanted to live in the same building as the demon. Ah, you sure? You don't want something else? Said the man with nervousness. I'm sure. Think about it this way. If you give me the building, then people will no longer associate you with the demon, thereby increasing your business elsewhere, said Naruto. The man nodded at the logic, then he ran and got the deed. Naruto signed for it under a false name, and it was his. When Naruto returned, he then re-signed the deed with his real name, and then turned it in at the deed's office. Uzumaki Naruto was now the proud owner of a piece of crap apartment building, time to remodel. 2 years later. The village was a bustling center of commerce and happiness, all except for the one building known as the demon's domain. Naruto had thrown himself into his training. He was making new puppets, as well as training himself physically. He remodeled his building to make it nothing short of a fortress. His skill with traps and seals were fastly becoming unmatched, as his building was nothing short of a death trap. He had applied the most secure security seals he had from Sasori scrolls on every window, door, every single possible entrance. He had gathered more human puppets from the villagers that attacked him. A year ago he had learned about the Kyuubi. One of the villagers had let it slip. Of course they were executed by a silver-haired Anbu, who then took Naruto to the Hokage's office. Flashback no. Naruto sat in front of the Hokage, mouth agape. Is it true, Oji-san? Am I really? He asked. The old man sighed, then said, No, you're not the Kyuubi. There was a demon, you are no demon. What happened was that when the demon attacked, he could not be killed. After all, it is impossible to kill a Biju, so the Yondaime sealed it. But a normal sealing would not do, for the demon could escape. It had to be a living vessel, and a newborn baby. That way the child's chakra coils could mold with both human and demonic chakra. You are no demon, Naruto, you are the jailer, and you're just as human as me. Never forget that. How come nobody ever told me? He asked. Because Naruto, I made a law the day you were born. The law says that no one will ever speak of it. I did that in the hopes that you could make friends with your own generation and live a normal life. I failed to take into account the extreme of their hatred and blindness. The penalty for breaking the law was death, was the reply. Naruto sat there in complete shock, and Sandaime lowered his head in shame. Naruto then got up, walked up to Sarutobi, and gave him a hug. I may be cold now, but it's not your fault, it's theirs. They're stupid for not seeing the truth, said Naruto. Sandaime smiled, glad Naruto didn't blame him. Then flashback. After that evening, Sarutobi gave Naruto his blessing to kill anyone who breaks the law and to defend himself. He didn't want to do it, but he felt it was the best way to increase Naruto's chances of survival. And because of that, Naruto's puppet collection went from 26 to 78. He had made all his human puppets guards of his fortress, so if his traps didn't get you, the puppets surely will. Naruto also managed to perfectly create human puppets with chakra. A team of Chunin tried to sneak into Naruto's home to kill him to avenge their families during the fox attack, and they all fell prey to Naruto's traps. So using their bodies, he was able to perfectly create ninja puppets. He was so happy that day. But Naruto wasn't just working on human puppets. He was also working on various works of art, normal puppets. His second puppet was a beautiful work of art, and even made the Sandaime whistle and all. The puppet was colored a dark blue and red, with 4 angelic wings on its back. The wings each contained 1,000 needles dipped in poison. On the puppet's 2 arms, it had a flamethrower that could generate an A-class Kaiten technique. On its side was a samurai sword. Think of Wing Zero from Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. It was a truly powerful weapon. His third puppet was a walking death machine, literally. After all, Naruto designed him after the Shinigami. It was dressed in a blood-red cloak while wearing dark blue ninja pants and a dark blue shirt. It also had on a vest in dark fiery orange. It had long, gray, mane-like hair, with 2 horns coming out of its forehead, and it had sharp teeth. It wielded a long scythe as a weapon. Its teeth were actually a weapon as well, for they were laced with poison, and anyone unlucky enough to get bitten by them were in for a nasty surprise. This one actually scared Sarutobi. Naruto was quickly becoming feared in the village, and he was happy with that. It meant less attacks. Naruto no longer needs an Anbu escort, but they would check on him every once in a while just in case. But only in public. None were stupid enough to try going into his building. Hokage's mansion. Sarutobi sat in his study drinking tea, while watching Naruto, who was sitting in front of him. Naruto had his Shinigami puppet behind, as a personal guard. So, Naruto-kun, what can I do for you? Naruto replied, Jai-san, I need your help. Can you teach me about advanced seals? Sarutobi looked shocked, but covered it very quickly. Advanced seals, Naruto. Aren't you a little young for that? But Jai-san, I already know about seals, said Naruto. The old Hokage sighed, and then said, okay Naruto, how about you show me everything you know about seals, then I'll make my decision. Naruto smiled, which brought a smile to the old man. So Naruto spent the past several hours going over everything he knew about seals from Sasori scrolls. To say Sarutobi was surprised would be an understatement. When all was done, he told Naruto. Okay, give me a minute. He got up and went through his scroll library, which was massive. He came back with 24 scrolls under his arms. These Naruto scrolls are all about Fune. From what I've seen tonight, you are more than prepared for it. Naruto smiled, a true smile, which brought a tear to the Hokage's eye. 3 years later. It had been 3 years since Naruto had started to learn more about Fune. He had delved into it like nothing else before. As a matter of fact, he only had time to create one other puppet because he was so busy. The puppet was one of his better ones. It was tall, about 6 feet 4 inches, with long silvery hair that went down to his lower back, and he had green eyes. He was dressed in a leather outfit with a leather cloak and silver shoulder pads. He carried a long samurai sword called massacre. On his left shoulder was a single black wing. For those that guessed it was Sephiroth, a bonus point to you. Naruto had even made his skin look human, even though it wasn't. It required a complicated series of seals that gave off a permanent illusion of being human. It also happened to have been the first puppet to feature that illusion. It was currently 12 midnight in Konoha, and we can see Naruto covered completely in black moving across the landscape. He stops in front of a large crypt. He spies a single Anbu guarding the door. He quickly shoots off a tip in a sleeping poison. The man would be asleep for several hours, and would wake up with a massive headache. Naruto had timed this perfectly. For months he had been watching the rotation schedule. He walked up to the door, and spotted several different types of security seals. He pulled out his brush and inkwell, and started to draw the counter seals. These counter seals would temporarily deactivate the security seals, and then when they were done they would break apart and disappear, leaving no trace of forced entry. With that done, he slowly opens the door, and steps inside. He smiles when he sees what he's looking for, the 3 coffins of the Shadame, Nidame, and Yondame Hokages. He walks over, and places the more advanced counter security seals on the more advanced security seals. He then opens the lids, and finds the bodies of the Hokages, all under the most advanced preservation. He pulls out the bodies, and seals all 3 of them into a scroll. Then he unseals 3 bodies of dead ninja that had the balls to try and kill him. Sephiroth makes quick work of them. He then places advanced illusion seals on the bodies, making them appear like the Hokages. Then he puts the lids back on, steps outside, making sure the coast is clear, closes the door, gives the antidote to the Anbu, and leaves. As far as the Anbu guard is concerned, he fell asleep on the job again. Naruto makes his way back home, then to his secret laboratory hidden underneath his home. He unseals the bodies, and gets to work, remembering what Sasori said about ninja corpses. Flashback. To my pupil. One of the most guarded secrets in the ninja world is that when a ninja dies, their body can be used to learn techniques from. That is why the body is always burned on the battlefield. We can apply the same thing here. When you empty the corpse of its necessities, you can then examine them later on to learn the same techniques that they had used while alive. A very useful bit of advice: if the body uses seals as a means of performing it, then you cannot learn the secrets of that, for the secret is in the seal, not the body. But since there are almost no seal masters in the world anymore, you shouldn't worry. Now, below you will find instructions of how to find out the secrets of said body. Then flashback. Yes, because of that, Naruto had learned much over the years from the ninja he had killed. He learned the basics of Kaden Suiton and Raiden. Nothing advanced, but it was a start. He also learned how to walk up trees, walk on water, all kinds of basic chakra control exercises, which was essential for him to have to use his puppets. It was a very exhausting 4 days later that Naruto stood triumphant. He had done it. He had the 3 Pat Hokages of Konoha as his puppets. He then wrote a seal on his arm titled Cage, and sealed them into his right arm, much safer than a scroll. Now, to write down all that he learned, he smiled a dark smile. They were a virtual treasure trove of knowledge. 1 month later. Sarutobi made his way to Naruto's house. He was angry, yet happy. He had informed the council of his intention to enroll Naruto into the Ninja Academy, but the council tried to say no. Even with the aid of the clans that supported Naruto, it was hopeless, until Hyuga Hayashi arrived. After opening his book of law, while smiling, he calmly stated that if any member of the village wanted to become a shinobi, then they were allowed to enroll in the academy. Sarutobi smiled. Sometimes he just loved that guy. So he was knocking on Naruto's door, and after being let in, he was taken to Naruto's living room, and he was told he would join the academy. Sarutobi smiled, as he watched Naruto bounce around the room in joy. Of course, he knew Naruto was already a fine ninja, perhaps high chunin, low jounin, but he still had to attend in order to advance. It was at times like these that he really loved his job. Naruto's home. Naruto was making his way down to the basement, then the sewers of his home. Since he had received the news that he would be joining the academy in 1 month, he felt the need to try and find an opportunity to test out his cage puppets in battle, for once he started school he would be too busy. By hanging out in bars under a henge, he had learned the location of 3 bandit camps, all within perfect distance from the village to try out his puppets. The reason he was in the sewers was because it was the only way to escape the village without the Hokage knowing. After a couple hours, Naruto had finally arrived at the camp. It was situated in a large field covered in pitch tents and campfires. He bit his thumb and rubbed the blood on the tattoo on his left arm, the kanji for first. There was a poof of smoke, and the Shodai clad in his armor emerged. Naruto attached his chakra strings using 1 finger. It started with the first running into the camp killing the bandits as he went. As the rest of the camp began to mobilize, he did a quick hand seal and said, Mokurten. Forest of Death. Dark gray roots emerged from the ground, and, as they grew in size, so did their thorns. The roots upturned tents and skewered bandits. They began to run, but with a shift of chakra they directed the roots to kill the escapes, so no word could be spread about what happened here. When the massacre was done, Naruto entered the field while walking behind him. After doing a quick survey and picking up any valuables that survived, Naruto went on to the next camp. By the time he returned to Konoha, it was morning. He went through the sewers, climbed up into his basement, took a shower, and went to bed with a big smile on his face. His puppets were better than anticipated. The Nidaime had destroyed his camp with a tsunami, and the Yondaime had decimated him with wind, especially the Rasengan. Naruto had trouble with the Yondaime at first, because the man's natural speed was far greater than anticipated, but after much practice, he managed to get it down. 1 month later, Naruto walked silently with the Sandaime to the academy, Sephiroth following close behind. You think he was an independent person, but upon closer look you can see Naruto's index finger twitch with every action of the puppet. Once they made their way to the classroom, Naruto gave the old man a hug and then entered. He chose to sit in the back, right next to a kid with a pineapple haircut. Not too long after Chunin entered the room, he was tall with the same haircut as the kid beside Naruto, whom he learned was Shikamaru, and he had a scar across his nose. Hello all, my name is Umino Ruka, and I will be your teacher for the next 4 years. I would like to start this class by calling rolls, then going over what will be expected of you in this academy. Nara Shikamaru. Here, said the kid with a lazy voice. Uzumaki Naruto, said Iruka. Naruto replied in a cold tone. He was surprised when he saw that Iruka didn't react at all. Once roll was done, Iruka proceeded to give the children a lecture on the fundamentals of being a shinobi. Naruto quickly became bored, so he started to daydream about future puppets. Unknown location. Danzo sat in his chair in his secret underground lair, looking at the young man kneeled in front of him. Sai, I have new orders for you. That Uzumaki child is becoming strong, I want you to try and recruit him to our cause. If he refuses, then you are to kill him, understood? Said Danzo. Hi Danzo-sama, replied Sai. Later that evening, Naruto was not amused, not in the least. After class, he found a note by his building asking him to be on training ground 7 at midnight. It was midnight, and he was there, alone. Suddenly a young man appeared. Naruto noted that he was dressed in Anbu garb. Uzumaki Naruto? He asked. Naruto nodded, and the man continued, my name is Sai, and I have a proposition for you. I work for a man in this village known as Danzo. He is a strong individual who can give you great power. I am here extending an offer, join him, and you can have all the power you want. And what if I refuse? Asked Naruto. Then you will die. A simple reply came. Naruto smiled a predatory smile, well then do your worst. Sai sighed, and pulled out his sword. He disappeared in a flash, and appeared behind Naruto, ready to kill him from behind, only to find a long silvery sword blocking his. Sai's eyes widened at the sight of a man with long silvery hair blocking his strike with little to no effort. Sai, I would like to introduce you to Sephiroth, one of my most powerful puppets, said Naruto. Sai, realizing that it wouldn't be as easy as he thought, jumped back, and pulled out an ink brush. This caught Naruto's attention. He watched, as Sai quickly drew 5 large bears, all made of ink. Now he really had Naruto's attention. The bears ran, and attacked Sephiroth, only for him to twist, and slice through 3 bears on a single swing. He ran after Sai, cutting down the 2 bears with ease. Sai jumped into the trees, hoping to use the darkness as a means of escape. He ran as fast as he could, he had never expected the child to be so strong. He drew a large dragon that rose above the trees, and had it attack the puppet. Sephiroth jumped into the air, and turned to his side, allowing the dragon's head to pass him by. He then twisted in the air, and landed on his back. He reversed the grip on his sword, and stabbed the dragon. He then dragged the sword up the body to the head, where Sai was located. Sai could only watch, as his ink weapons were disposed of with such ease. Not even most root members could do that. He jumped off the dragon, and landed on a branch below, and watched, as Sephiroth jumped off the dragon, as it dispersed in the mist. Sai looked up, and watched Sephiroth flip in midair with the full moon behind him, giving him a look of grace. Sai this time decided it would be wise to cut his losses and run. He ran as fast as he could, but it paled in comparison to Sephiroth's speed. He ducked a sword slice, and when he looked up he saw the puppet had disappeared. He was scared. Fear was an emotion he had not felt in a long time. He didn't have time to ponder when a sword erupted from his chest. He looked down, and the blood covered the sword, and realized it was his blood. Naruto walked up to Sai and spoke. Puppets are truly amazing pieces of artwork, no? The last word Sai heard before darkness took him was, "You will make a fine puppet indeed." Naruto returned to his home with the body of Sai and took him to his puppet creation room. His unique ink abilities might come in handy. Unknown location. Wham! The root member in front of Danzo jumped when the old man slammed his fist on his desk. "Care to repeat that?" he asked. "Sir, Sai was killed in action, but his body was never found, just a large amount of his blood. We believe that the Uzumaki wished to make him a puppet," said the root member. Danzo sat back in a huff. Sai was a valuable member. "We will observe the Uzumaki. In 4 years' time we will approach him again, and if he refuses, I want the entire division sent to kill him," he said. 1 year later. Darkness, blood, death, and thrills. That was the sight that greeted Naruto as he entered the Uchiha compound. The reason he was here was because he wanted to do some research on the Sharingan, wondering if it could copy the movements of his puppets. This was certainly unexpected. Naruto turned towards the screen and ran to the main house of the Uchiha main branch. He carefully stepped into the shadows and watched as Uchiha Itachi stepped out of the house. He watched as the man jumped onto the roofs and ran. Naruto then quickly made his way into the home and made his way to what he assumed was the master bedroom. He found a young boy named Sasuke, the same one from his class, unconscious on the floor. He walked over to the adult bodies and turned them over. The man, whom Naruto recognized as Uchiha Fugoku, bastard, was one of the ones who called for my execution, thought Naruto. He then turned over the body of the girl and found it was Uchiha Mikoto, the mother of Sasuke. "I remember her." Though Naruto was surprised. Flashback. A 3-year-old Naruto walked down the street of the marketplace, dirty and hungry. He had just been thrown out of his store, and the villagers were sending him hate-filled glares. Why? Why me? What have I done to them? I mean, I'm a good boy, I've never hurt anyone, he thought with sadness. Looking at his feet as he walks, just to avoid the glares, he bumps into someone and falls down. He immediately gets into the feet position awaiting the usual beating. Suddenly he feels hands on his shoulder lifting him up. "I'm sorry. I didn't watch where I was going," said a kind voice. Naruto looked at her wide-eyed only to see her smile. She looks at his clothes, then she notices him staring at the groceries in her arms. Smiling, she pulls out an apple and gives it to the boy. Naruto takes the apple in surprise, then he takes a good look at her. Her long silky black hair, pale complexion, and black eyes. Wow, she's like an angel, he thought. It was then and there that Naruto developed his first childhood crush. Then flashback. Naruto looked at her pale complexion and sighed, she hasn't aged a day. Determined, Naruto pulls out a scroll and seals her in it. He then goes to a nearby fireplace and takes a pile of ashes and puts them in her place, hoping people will believe she was burned. He then silently and quickly made his way out of the house and back to his house via sewer. He had plans for Mikoto. He was going to make her immortal. 3 days later. Naruto walked back into his house after returning from the academy, which he learned was on hold for the next week, so that all resources could be used for a full-blown investigation into what has been named the Uchiha massacre. As he walked in, he went into his room and laid down. His door opened, and in walked Mikoto. Naruto had made her a puppet, but she was not a combat puppet. No, she was going to be used to serving him, like a maid or servant. When he remade her, he had tried a new seal that he had found. What the seal allowed was for the living body to continue to live, even after the person was dead. All Naruto had to do was apply the seal, fix up the stab wound that was directed at the heart, and she would live. Of course, like any living body, she would need nourishment, so he simply fed her once a week, and the seal would take the nutrients, and slowly distribute them around the body like a normal body. Of course, her mind was dead, and her soul was gone, leaving the body, which is all Naruto required. He had her have that smile he loved so much permanently etched on her face. She could still change facial expressions, but he liked the smile so much he had it kept on most of the time. Also, Naruto couldn't help but have a thrill upon seeing her naked body. Yes, readers, our favorite puppet master, Uzumaki Naruto, is a pervert, although a closet one. After all, it would ruin his reputation if word of his perverseness got out. Mikoto was currently dressed in a French-made outfit, showing off those lovely legs. He giggled just like a certain masked, one-eyed Jamin. 2 weeks later. Uchiha Sasuke sat under the tree at the academy, brooding and planning his revenge on his brother Itachi. This was how Naruto found him, and it was just the perfect time too. "Excuse me, Uchiha-san, but I would like to make you an offer," said Naruto. Sasuke looked up, intrigued. He knew all about Uzumaki Naruto. Rumor had it he could kill a squad of Jamin. He also knew the boy had legendary skills in the art of killing. So when he spoke, people listened. Luckily, or unluckily, depending on how you look at it, Sasuke was alone, with Naruto the killer, creepy. I have recently become aware that you wish to kill your brother, right? Naruto asked. He saw Sasuke's eyes flash with anger, and Naruto had him. I am willing to offer you an opportunity to train in how to kill your brother, on one condition, he said. What's the condition? Asked Sasuke with curiosity. When you kill your brother, I want his body to be used as a puppet, said Naruto. Sasuke's eyes widened. This was clearly unexpected. Why do you want his body? Asked Sasuke. Simple, your brother is a powerful ninja. His skills, even without the Sharingan, are beyond amazing. He will make a powerful puppet, answered Naruto. Sasuke thought about it, then replied, yes. Naruto smiled, then pulled out a piece of paper. It was a contract. Unfortunately, your word is not enough. I will need you to sign this in blood. That way neither of us can go back on it, said Naruto. Sasuke signed. He bit his thumb, and signed the paper. If it would help him kill his brother, then he would do it. Naruto smiled, and said, good, tomorrow is Saturday, meet me at training ground 7 at 6 AM, and we will begin your training. Next morning, Sasuke arrived, as planned, and he found Naruto sitting by 3 tree stumps. He woke up, and stood in front of Naruto, waiting. Naruto opened his eyes, and smiled. He pulled out an ink brush, and instructed Sasuke to sit next to him. I am going to draw a set of seals on each of your arms, and legs. They are called gravity seals, and will help you in your training. You see, Taijutsu masters use weights to put constant stress on their muscles, so that, as they eat, train, sleep, etc., they will constantly grow stronger, and the stronger you grow the more weights you add, thus making you stronger. But the secret lies in taking the weights off. When you do that, your physical strength and speed can be increased by 100 times. Sasuke's eyes widened at that, and Naruto continued. These gravity seals act in the same way, the only difference being that you don't have to add weights, which will be cumbersome. He finished. Sasuke nodded, and Naruto drew the seals. When he was done, he did a hand seal, and Sasuke fell flat on his face. He slowly drew himself up, and leaned against a tree. Now Sasuke, the reason I am training you in Taijutsu is simple. You see, your brother is renowned for copying thousands of, so I have come to the conclusion that you will be unable to match him in a fight, because the odds of him knowing the counter to any you use are high. However, you can still become physically stronger, and faster than him. If you are able to achieve such feats, then your brother will be no match for you. Sasuke nodded, as he listened intently. Now Sasuke, time to begin your training, said Naruto with a sadistic smile that would make Ibiki jealous. 1 month later. 1 month has passed since Sasuke started training, and Naruto could tell that he was meeting up to his expectations. After dismissing the Uchiha, Naruto made his way to his house to prepare for the night's op. After dressing in his sneaky clothes, he went straight for the Hokage's tower. After suitably distracting the Anbu guarding the scroll room, he snuck in, evading the traps with ease. After 5 minutes he found what he was looking for, the Yonde notes on all the seals he ever created. Naruto set about taking the scrolls, and sealing them into another scroll for easy travel. When he was done, he left the building before the Anbu could return, and made his way home. When he returned, he unsealed the scrolls, and started to sort them by order of importance. During his sorting, he came across 2 very interesting seals. The first was a slave seal, and the second was the Shiki Fune. He smiled. He had hit the treasure trove. Deciding that the fox was okay being sealed, he went for the slave seal. The slave seal, by Yonde. The slave seal is a very difficult seal to perform, for it requires someone to place a seal on a person's brain without killing them or leaving any visible scars. The purpose of the seal is that when applied, it will make a person completely loyal to you, no matter how much they hate you. You can make them kill, you can have sex with them, or if you're really sadistic, you can have them running around the village in a pink tutu singing show tunes. Oh, the agony. However, you can also use the seal as a way to get a person to spy for you. Needless to say, this was very useful during the war. The instructions are listed below. Naruto smiled. Oh, this was indeed difficult, but the rewards were beyond amazing. He could have a spy in every village in the elemental countries. Oh, the wealth of information he could gather. 2 years later, Naruto was enjoying life. He was currently spending his semester break in a city not far from the Leaf Village, all the while looking for a suitable subject to try his slave seal on. It took 2 agonizing years, but he had mastered the seal. Now all he had to do was field test it. As he was walking by a small cafe, he decided to get a small lunch. After sitting down and ordering, he heard 2 old women discussing something very interesting. Did you hear about Car? Said one. No, what happened? Asked 2. Well, a man had entered her home and killed her parents, little brother, and tried to attack her. She managed to defend herself by stabbing the man with a knife, killing him. But in a last act of desperation, he knocked her down some stairs, putting her into a coma. She's at the hospital now recovering, said one. Naruto, intrigued and slightly angered, took note of the girl's name, and after finishing his lunch, paid, and went to the hospital. When he found the girl's room, the car Kent, no relation to Superman, and not a crossover. Naruto entered. As he walked up to the bed, he couldn't help but admire her beautiful body. She had long blonde curly hair that went past her shoulders, and he guessed she was about 5 feet 11 in. He walked up to her, and pulled back her eyelids to take a look. Noting the glassy-eyed appearance, he placed his hand on her head, and sent a small chakra pulse, waking her. What? She asked. She opened her eyes, and had to close them again because of the light. After a few minutes she was able to open them again. She looked around, noticing she was in a hospital. She turned her head to the right, and spotted Naruto. She quickly adopted a look of fear, and asked, "Are you here to finish me off?" Naruto looked at her, and replied, "No, I am a simple shinobi that had overheard your fate. I have decided to come here to help you." She looked at him, and then asked, "Will you kill the man's friends? He had helped that night, all I ask is that you kill them." Naruto nodded, and she continued, "I also want you to help me forget." Naruto looked at her in confusion, and she elaborated, "I have heard tales of shinobi, of how you can manipulate the mind and body. I ask that you help me forget what happened, and in return I will offer myself to you. My mind, body, and soul. I'll be your servant or your wife, anything, just help me forget." She broke down crying. Naruto reached over, and lifted her head to gaze into her eyes. "I will help you." 2 hours later. After getting the names and descriptions of the men who attacked Car, Naruto had easily tracked them down at their hideout. He decided that it would be best to send in Shinigami for the assassination mission. "How long are we going to wait?" said one man. "Not long. Tonight we will sneak into the hospital and kill her before she wakes," said the second. There was a small creak, and the two people stood, their eyes whitened when they saw the demon walk forth from the shadows. Before they could react, the god of death beheaded them both with his side. Hospital. Naruto stood in the room of Car. He was about to perform the slave seal on a human body, and it required intense concentration. He drew the seal on her arm, and applied chakra to it. He watched as the seal broke apart and entered her bloodstream. He closed his eyes, and focused on directing the seal through the blood to her brain. When the seal materialized on her brain, Naruto channeled chakra into it. He opened his eyes, and watched, as her eyes adopted a glassy look before returning to normal. She looked at him, and asked, "How can I help Naruto-sama?" 2 years later. Uzumaki Naruto, age 14, sat in the back of the classroom next to Uchiha Sasuke, Narashikamaru, Akamichi Choji, Inuzuka Kippa, and Aburame Shino. If one were to look at the group of boys, you would see them all scowling. Why would all the boys be scowling? Simple. Fangirls. It wasn't long before a club of Sasuke fangirls was formed, and Sasuke, being desperate to escape their clutches, ended up hiding with the boys of the class. The girls, being stupid, all thought they were friends, so clubs for all the guys were eventually formed. Even Naruto, the demon spawn, had a club to call his own. He hated it with a passion. So, to escape the fangirls, the guys all asked Naruto to help them. Naruto, of course, had an idea. He had to build a puppet suitable to distract them while they ran off. It was a second Sephiroth puppet, only nude, with enlarged genitalia. The making of that puppet had seriously disturbed Naruto, so to make sure he wasn't a yaoi man, he had a SAGS marathon with Car and Mikoto. He was very pleased. Right now, they all sat, watching the front of the classroom. Even the girls were quiet, for today was the dreaded genin exams. Iruka came out, and started to call out names. 30 minutes later. All that was left was Naruto, and Ino. Ino was sending heart-filled gazes at Naruto. Naruto was fingering a poison. "Uzumaki Naruto," called Iruka. Naruto got up, and walked into the room, where he saw Iruka and Mizuki waiting for him. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Mizuki. He didn't trust the man. Iruka gave Naruto a smile. Naruto trusted Iruka, but not completely. Naruto did give the guy credit. He is trying to reach out to him, and he even bought Naruto ramen, who of course couldn't refuse. "Naruto, the test is for you to make 3 bunshin," said Iruka. Naruto nodded, then he formed a hand seal, and 3 Mizu bunshin appeared. "You fail," shouted Mizuki. Iruka however disagreed. "I think not, Mizuki. I never specified what type of bunshin to make. As a senior instructor, I say he passes." After receiving his headband, Naruto walked out, and met Sasuke, who nodded. If one were to look at them, they would think that they were friends. Of course the two boys denied. "We are business partners," was the most likely response. Naruto's house. Naruto walked into his house, and walked into his living room where he collapsed into his lazy boy recliner. "Anything I can do for you, Naruto-sama?" asked Car, as she walked in with her smile. Naruto smiled at her. Aside from Sandaime and Iruka, she was the only one to see him smile. "Sit on my lap," he ordered. She came up, and did so. Naruto then leaned his face into her hair. "I like your hair, it smells of strawberries. Have I ever told you that?" asked Naruto. Car smiled. "Every day, Naruto-sama." "Please, don't call me Naruto-sama, just Naruto is fine," he said. "Okay, Naruto." They sat there for a few moments, Naruto enjoying her company. He didn't know why, but whenever she was with him, he would feel warmth in his heart. It was odd. but it was nice. Tomorrow is the day I might die, he said. Kara continued to listen. I know that Danzo will not leave me until he is killed. Tomorrow is the only day he can strike, for I am no longer under the protection of the third, and not yet under the protection of a Jounin sensei, legally anyways. He will attack, for if it was I in his shoes, I would do the same, said Naruto. Then you should get prepared, I'll go prepare your battle armor, replied Kara as she got up to leave. Academy the next day. Naruto sat in class waiting for Iruka. Iruka entered, and gave a long boring speech about life, as a ninja, loyalty to one's village, blah blah. Then he started calling out teams. Team 7 is Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Haruno Sakura. Your sensei is Hada Kakashi. Sensei, how come Sakura gets the top 2 boys in class? Asked a jealous Ino. The reason is because Naruto has the worst written grades, but the best practical. Sasuke is the rookie of the year, and Sakura got the best written grades, but the worst practical in class. It's to even things out, answered Iruka. Once the rest of the teams were announced, they all waited for their senseis. 3 hours later. Sasuke and Naruto were angry, so angry Sakura had hidden behind a desk for safety. Suddenly the door opened and, hello. Thump. Kakashi looked up from the floor when he ducked, and noticed a kunai embedded in the door, right where his head used to be. My first impression of you is I don't like you. Meet me on the roof. With that he disappeared in a poof of smoke. When they arrived on the roof, they sat cross-legged in front of Kakashi. Okay, tell me your names, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future, said Kakashi. How about you go first, sensei? Asked Sakura. Well, my name is Hada Kakashi. I like few things, dislike many things. I have no dreams for the future, and my hobbies are private. The answer came. All we learned was his name. They all thought. You go? Said Kakashi pointing at Sasuke. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. My likes include training, reading, and more training. My dislikes include fangirls, my hobbies include training, and my ambition is to kill my brother and revive my clan, said Sasuke. Okay, you next, blonde, said Kakashi pointing at Naruto. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. My likes include making new puppets, training, and having hot sex with my 2 women. My dislikes include the village and almost everyone in it. My hobbies included training, making puppets, and having sex with my 2 girls. My dreams for the future are to either get respect from the village or burn it to the ground. Whichever comes first, was the reply. Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke raised eyebrows at his introduction. Next you Pinky, said Kakashi to Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. My likes include Naruto and Sasuke, who glared back. I also like reading. My dislikes include Ino Pig. My dreams for the future are, look at the boys again. Great. I have a revenge-obsessed brooder, a fangirl, and a perverted puppet maker who dreams of destroying the village. Why do I get all the freaks? Thought Kakashi. Well, okay, meet me tomorrow at Training Ground 7 for a survival exam. And before you ask, this test is used to decide which genin are allowed to continue, for the test has a 66% failure rate. Good luck, finished Kakashi. Once he left, everyone went their different ways. When Naruto arrived home, he went to his puppet room, and loaded up all his puppets. Kara walked in carrying Naruto's armor. Naruto had procured some Nanbu armor, and he had made special modifications. For one, it was covered in special seals that held deadly traps for anyone who got near him. It also was resistant to most fire techniques, even airing techniques. He stripped down to his boxers, and Kara helped him get the armor on. After that, Naruto gave her a deep kiss, before departing into the night. Konoha Forest. Naruto had spotted Iruka pursuing Mizuki into the forest. Of course Naruto knew Mizuki was trying something. He had overheard Mizuki talking about stealing something, so he gave chase. Once he spotted Mizuki in the clearing, he couldn't help but listen to the conversation. You can't stop me, Iruka. I'll take this scroll, and with it I'll gain unlimited power. I won't let you, Mizuki, said Iruka with determination. Neither will I, said Naruto. They were surprised to see Naruto enter the clearing. Hello Mizuki, nice night isn't it? Mizuki glared, then he suddenly smiled. Hey kid, do you know why everyone hates you? You mean the yes, I do know about him, said Naruto, as if it were a pleasant conversation. Iruka didn't look surprised, but Mizuki did. Then he glared, and said, you can't beat me. I know that those rumors are lies spread to protect you. But it won't work on me, yelled Mizuki, as he charged. Naruto raised an eyebrow, then using a small amount of his speed, appeared behind Mizuki, and slit his throat. Mizuki fell dead, and Naruto put a preservation stone on him to use as a puppet later. Clap, clap, clap. Naruto and Iruka turned to find an old crippled man walking into the clearing. Ah, Naruto, I see you have grown. Naruto glared hard at the man, and Iruka stiffened a bit. Danzo, what displeasure? Said Naruto. I have come here to re-offer a position in my organization. I take it you decline? Asked Danzo. Gee, what gave you that idea? Said Naruto sarcastically. Danzo frowned, then he snapped his fingers, and 80 root members appeared. Well then I'm afraid you have to die, said Danzo. Iruka pulled out a kunai, ready to fight. Naruto unsealed Shinigami, Sephiroth, Angel, and Karasu. Naruto had purposely left his ninja puppets to guard Kar, in case she was attacked. Naruto jumped into the trees to hide while his puppets fought. Karasu jumped and opened all his elbow joints, unleashing dozens of poison, catching several Anbu off guard before dispersing. He dislocated 4 of his arms and had them hide in the shadows as he ran through the darkness. The ninja snuck up behind him and tried to decapitate him, only for the head to rise out of the body and stab the man in the chest. The arms came out of hiding to stab several more Anbu, all the blades sending poison into their systems. Sephiroth jumped into the clearing, his hair waving around, stabbing and entangling several of the ninjas. He took his sword and stabbed the ones in his hair before his hair detached them. He jumped into the air to avoid a fire and twirled around, stabbing several of the ninjas with precise cutting. He landed and jetted off into the darkness, hunting for more enemies. Shinigami. The puppet waited in darkness, watching his prey. Several Anbu walked by, cautiously looking around. When they turned their backs, he whipped out his scythe and stabbed each one in the hearts. He jumped into the shadow of the next 3, waiting for more. Angel first started out by ambushing several large groups and pelting them with hundreds of poison before moving off, leaving them to die. Angel then whipped out his flamethrowers and launched in both directions, catching several off guard, frying them. Iruka blocked a strike with his kunai and kicked a man in his stomach, then quickly ducking under a sword strike and stabbing his kunai into his throat. Iruka took the sword from the dead Anbu and sliced off his head before blocking another strike. He jumped over the swarming Anbu and leapt to find safer locations. Naruto. He ducked under a sword strike, then sent it into the man's exposed arm. The group of Anbu entered the area, and each attacked. Naruto countered by activating the seal on his chest armor, sending 100 poison in the rushing horde. He pressed another seal, and 2 blades came out of his forearms. He twirled in a circle, slashing several men, all the while concentrating on keeping his puppets fighting. Naruto jumped into a clearing with Iruka. Naruto had recalled all of his puppets. If Naruto had counted right, he may have killed about 40 Anbu, leaving another 40 alive. They arrived and encircled the area, trapping Naruto and Iruka and his puppets. Naruto sighs. He may have to pull out the cages for this. Clap, clap, clap. Danzo walks into the clearing, confident his Anbu would protect him. I must say, child, you have done well. Killing over half my force, you have indeed proven to be very powerful. Naruto sneered. Oh, you'll just find I'm full of surprises, right, Iruka-sensei? Iruka nodded. You will not beat Danzo, he said. Before Danzo could respond, there was a black blur, knocking Danzo himself to the ground, and several Anbu as well. When Naruto looked, he saw Sasuke standing with them. Sasuke, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto. You are an important ally. I just can't let you up and die without completing my training, came the response. Danzo sat up and yelled, kill them all. The Anbu were about to comply when Naruto smiled and twitched his fingers. Shinigami appeared from the shadows right behind Danzo, and before anyone could react, stabbed a kunai in his heart. All was stopped. The Anbu watched as their leader fell, dead. Then they looked at his killer, a smiling Naruto, then one shouted, kill them for Danzo-sama. They all charged, only for a dozen to stop dead. They all looked around, and saw the Sandaime Hokage in battle armor standing in the clearing, with Kakashi, Asuma, Kurone, and several loyal Anbu teams surrounding the clearing. I suggest you all surrender, and face your punishment of treason, or you can all die here, said the Hokage in a deadly voice. Naruto chose death, as the attack was easily wiped out. Hokage's office. Sasuke, Naruto, and Iruka, along with the Jounin sensei, sat in the office, listening to the report that Naruto and Iruka gave. Once it was done, Sarutobi sighed and leaned back into his chair. He was about to speak when Naruto beat him to it. Sandaime Chichi, I want to know, how is it that Iruka was able to stand on his own against Root? Sandaime smiled, then decided to let Iruka explain. The reason I did such a good job was because I was once an Anbu captain, said Iruka. Sasuke and Naruto looked at him with wide eyes, which was rather comical. Well, you didn't think we would let the next generation of ninjas be taught by some average shunin, did you? We only have the best to teach you, said Sandaime with a chuckle. Once the meeting was over, Naruto and the others were permitted to go and rest, for it was a busy night. But before Naruto went home, he went back to the clearing and created 50 cage bunshin. He instructed them to go and gather the bodies as puppets. Naruto then looked down at Danzo's corpse. I have plans for you, old man. Next day, Training Ground 7. Naruto arrived at the training ground, only to find Sasuke and Sakura waiting. Naruto, deciding he had time, took a nap underneath a tree. It was 3 hours later that Kakashi arrived. Hello all. Well, today I am going to give you a rather simple test. You see these 2 silver bells? Well, I want you to come get them from me. If you get a bell, you pass. Oh, and come at me with the intent to kill, otherwise you won't succeed. He then pulled out an alarm clock and set it on a stump, telling them they had an hour. They then vanished into the foliage. Sasuke and Naruto hide themselves well, Naruto definitely, but that's not unexpected. Sakura can do some work, but otherwise pretty good. Kakashi then pulled out his perverted book and began to read. Only to realize he had Naruto on his team, the kid who killed almost 40 Anbu the other night, so he put it away, while crying silent tears. Why did I get a psycho on my team? He thought. Naruto stayed hidden and pulled out the Shinigami. He watched as Sakura was put down with a D-class. Pathetic, he thought. He then watched Sasuke deactivate his gravity seals and attack at lightning speed. But once he pulled out his Sharingan, it was over for Sasuke. I'll need to up his gravity, he thought. He then sent Shinigami into the field. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at seeing the Death God. Kakashi watched, waiting for the Death God to make a move, when suddenly the ground exploded behind him, and an Anbu puppet rose out ready to strike Kakashi with his sword. He pulls out a kunai, and blocks the sword, and then he ducks, as a scythe flies over his head, cutting off a few hairs. He jumps back, and watches, as the two puppets regroup. The two puppets then speed forward, and slash, and swing their weapons in his direction. Kakashi pulls out a second kunai, and blocks both swings, and receives a double kick to the gut, knocking him back. Best way to deal with the puppet is to cut the strings, he thought. He then replaced himself with a cage bunchen to distract the puppets, while he snuck into the forest to find Naruto. It wasn't far along that he found Naruto crouched on a tree directing his puppets. He gets an evil grin, and sneaks up behind Naruto. Konoha Ultimate Taijutsu Technique. 1000 Years of Pain. And he then sends a force poke into Naruto's ass. Only for Naruto to turn around and say, boom. Boom. Kakashi was sent flying back into the clearing, and he landed right in front of the two puppets, who were ready for him. Ring. The alarm clock goes off, and Kakashi says a mental thank you. He looks at his students, Sasuke and Naruto sitting in front of a tree stump, with Sakura tied to one, with her head bowed with shame. Do any of you have any idea what the true meaning of this test is? Asked Kakashi with frustration. Teamwork, said Naruto. Kakashi looked at him. You knew the entire time, didn't you? Yes, I simply wanted to see how the others, and myself would rate against you, said Naruto. Kakashi looked annoyed. I got played. That lousy son of a. Okay people, you can thank Naruto here for having you all pass. Meet me here tomorrow morning for missions and training. Finished Kakashi with a ticking eye, as he disappeared in smoke. Naruto looked at Sasuke. I see you have grown well, but I think it's time to up your training. I'm going to increase your gravity to 30 times the normal gravity, and I want you to do 1000 sit-ups, push-ups, chin-ups, squats, and run around the village 5 times, every day. By the end of the month you should be seeing some results. With that Naruto left, leaving a silently weeping Sasuke at the thought of the torture he called training. Hokage's Tower. Kakashi sat in a chair, trying not to notice the looks of sympathy and laughter, after telling how his test went. Once everyone was dismissed, the Hokage grew serious. Kakashi, I want you to keep a keen eye on both Naruto and Sasuke. They have secrets that are very dangerous, he said. Kakashi saw the look in the old man's eye, and asked, what kind of secrets? Sarutobi sighed, and for a moment you could see the age on his face. Kakashi felt sympathy for the old age. Sasuke has been training rather harshly, but recently he has become, shall we say, disturbed, distant, and at times angry. I don't even know why, for part of his anger is not even directed at Itachi, like it used to be. As for Naruto, well, Naruto has 3 very important, very powerful puppets at his disposal, said Sarutobi. What kind of puppets? Asked Kakashi wearily. Naruto has Shadaime, Nidaime, and Yondaime as his puppets, said Sarutobi. Kakashi's eyes widened. He had what? How is that possible? What's the point? Asked Kakashi. Sarutobi looked at him, and replied, the puppets have the same abilities as the Hokages, which means if used in battle, it would be like the actual Hokage fighting, not some puppet. Kakashi looked stunned, then he asked, what are we to do about this? Destroy them? No. Let Naruto have them. After all, he has yet to use them, and seems content to use his normal puppets. Anyways, it's the least we can do considering the hell his life has been. Also, do not let him, or anyone else know that we know. As of now we are the only ones that know, let's keep it that way. He will reveal them when he deems necessary, answered Sarutobi. Kakashi sighed. Only one day, and already his team was proving to be troublesome. Naruto's house. Naruto walked in, and headed straight to the bath. It was a large bath, enough to fit 7 people. He stripped down, and climbed into the bubble bath. Yes, one of Naruto's secret passions was bubble baths. Not long after, Car comes in, strips down, and climbs in, and sits next to Naruto, and leans against him. After washing up and getting out, Naruto looks after his car, as she limps back to his bed for a nap. He smiles. Good thing I taught her that birth control. 2 weeks after the exam. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were not pleased. Neither was Kakashi. The genin were not pleased because of all the D-rank missions they had to do. They wanted a challenge, something different. Kakashi was annoyed because of the team's lack of teamwork and Sakura's fangirlness. They stood in front of the Hokage, giving a report on the mission. Sasuke and Naruto watched with glee as the daimyo's wife hugged her cat to death. Naruto leaned over and whispered in Sasuke's ear, "If we have to get that cat again, I'm turning it into an explosive puppet." Sasuke couldn't help but agree. Once they were done, they all went their separate ways. Kakashi walked down the street heading to his favorite bar. When he entered, he joined Asuna, Kurone, Guy, and Anko for drinks. "So, how's your team?" asked Kurone. "Well, Naruto and Sasuke are still the twisted, demented people they were before, but otherwise improving on their combat ability. Sakura on the other hand. She just doesn't get it, she never trains, all she does is chase Sasuke and try to make herself look pretty. Her fangirldom is going to get her, or someone else killed someday," he replied. "Hey, I can help her," said Anko. Everyone looked at her in surprise, and she said, "Back when I was in the academy, I myself was a fangirl, as much as I loathe to admit it. But when I became Orochimaru's apprentice, he showed me a videotape that changed me forever. I'll get you the tape, and you watch it with her, and then explain it to her. It will work, trust me." An hour later, Sakura sat in her living room. Her parents were gone for the night when she heard a knock on her door. She got up and was surprised when it was Kakashi there. After walking in, he put a tape in the VCR and told her to sit down. "Sakura, I am here tonight for a very specific purpose. Your obsession with Sasuke is going too far. Tonight I will show you what happens to kunoichi who don't train, the fate of all fangirls," he said with all seriousness. Over the course of an hour, Kakashi and Sakura watched the tape. They watch as men grape the poor girl, they watch as she is used for manual labor. They watch as when it's discovered she has a bloodline that she becomes breeding stock. When the tape ends, Kakashi takes out the tape and stares at a horrified Sakura. "This, Sakura, is what happens to fangirls who don't train. This could be you someday if you refuse to work hard. It's okay to have a crush, but when that crush becomes an obsession, then it can lead to the deaths of your teammates and a life of hell. Now, I want you to think over this, about whether you still want to be kunoichi. I will respect either decision," finished Kakashi. Next day, Training Ground 7. When Sakura arrived at the training ground, her head was high, and she had a look of determination in her eyes. She spotted Naruto reading, so she walked over to him and sat down. "Naruto, can I ask you something?" "What?" he said. "I need help, I want to train, but what do you think I should study in?" she asked. Naruto looked up in surprise, and then thought for a second. "Well, you would be good at medic, it doesn't hurt to have a healer on a team. That, and..." She nodded, and he continued, "I'll be right back." Naruto left the training ground, and returned 15 minutes later with several scrolls. These scrolls contain basic medic, and study them, and do what they say. After that, ask Kakashi-sensei, he said. She smiled, and went to work. 3 hours later, Kakashi arrived, and, as usual, he had an excuse as to why he was late. Only when he didn't hear shouting from Sakura, he opened his eyes, and looked around. He saw Sasuke doing sit-ups, he saw Naruto drawing on a scroll, and he saw Sakura reading. Curious, he walks over to see what she's studying. Medic, and I see that last night may have worked after all, he thought. Well everyone, today I have good news, I got us a C-rank mission, said Kakashi joyfully. That got everyone's attention. Has that mangy cat been upgraded to C-rank? Asked Naruto with an evil glint in his eye. Kakashi shuddered, and replied, no, we got ourselves a genuine one. Now, let's head to the Hokage Tower. Tower, mission room. After shuffling some papers, Sarutobi pulled out a scroll, and said, your mission is to Wave Country. You are to protect a bridge builder named Tazuna until he completes the bridge. Just then an old drunk man walked in. This is it. I don't know if they can do it, especially that dumb blonde. Naruto, incensed, threw a needle, and it just barely missed. He let out a squeak, and then Naruto said, that needle is dipped in poison that will burn off any limb it comes into contact with. Kakashi, Iruka, Sasuke, and Sarutobi all crossed their legs in fear. Okay, meet at the south gate in an hour, said Kakashi. Naruto's home. Naruto walked in, and loaded up. He took the cage puppets, the Shinigami, Angel, Sephiroth, his deluxe puppet making kit, as well as the 2 puppets he was currently building, never knowing when he would have free time. Naruto gave Kar and Mikoto a goodbye kiss, and then he activated his deluxe security seals to protect them. This new set of seals was responsible for directing the house puppets in combat. Should anyone attempt an attack, they were also responsible for a wide variety of traps. Once they all arrived at the village gates, they set off. An hour down the road, Kakashi was reading his porn, Sakura was asking Tazuna all about the waves, and Sasuke and Naruto were just walking. As they were walking, Naruto noticed a puddle. He narrowed his eyes. He then gave a quick glance to Kakashi, who nodded. Suddenly 2 unknown nin emerged from the puddle, surprising everyone else. They wrapped their chain around Kakashi and tore him to shreds, making Sakura scream. "One down," they said as they moved. But then they suddenly tripped, and before they could recover, Sasuke delivered a knockout punch to one, while Kakashi got the other. Kakashi stood there analyzing the situation, then he asked, "Naruto, what did you do?" "It's part of my new unique taijutsu style. I use my chakra strings to trip up opponents and misdirect their attacks while I go in for a finishing blow." He then picks up the bodies and walks into the forest. "I think I'll go find something." Kakashi then stared at it. "You have some explaining to do." Dazuna then pulled out the sympathy card and told them about the disaster that has befallen the waves. Moments after, Naruto came back to them. "Hey, what did you do with the bodies?" asked Dazuna. "I will be turning them into puppets. They will make good training puppets for my girlfriend," came the reply. Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura stared. Since when did he have a girlfriend? They all thought. After that, it was decided to continue the mission. After they arrived at the wave, it wasn't long till they encountered Zabuza. Naruto watched with fascination as Kakashi and Zabuza fought it out. When Kakashi was trapped in a water prison, Sasuke threw at Zabuza, and Naruto controlled it with his chakra strings to have the weapon change directions and attack Zabuza, who had no choice but to let Kakashi go free to save himself. The rest of the fight is the same in canon, only Naruto doesn't talk, he observes. When they arrived at the S home, Sasuke and Naruto had placed Kakashi on a bed to relax and heal him. Sakura, taking this as an opportunity, experimented with a diagnostic she learned from one of Naruto's scrolls. Naruto had decided to take a look around the property. He had decided to place seals on the doors, windows, and even some trees near the house, so that if there were any intruders, he would be alerted. After he was done, Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura sat around the kitchen table eating. "Thank you for coming. You have no idea how grateful we are for your help. If Dad can complete the bridge, then help can be brought back to this country," said Tsunami. Sakura spoke for everyone. "You're welcome, we'll do our best." It was a day later that Kakashi was able to walk again, only with the aid of crutches. He led the three gen into the forest. "Okay, today we are going to focus on the tree walking exercise." Naruto spoke. "Kakashi-sensei, me, and Sasuke are already familiar with this technique." Kakashi looked at him and said, "Okay, show me." So Naruto and Sasuke calmly walked to a tree, then up it, without the use of their hands. Kakashi thought, and then said, "Okay, how about the water walking exercise?" They both nodded their heads. Kakashi sighed. "Okay, what did you have planned for Naruto?" he asked. "I'm going to work on a new, experimental puppet," he said. Kakashi looked at Sasuke, who shrugged at his soldiers. Kakashi thought, then he got an idea. "Okay, Sakura, I'll teach you the chakra control exercises, and Sasuke, I'll teach you a taijutsu style. I may be out of commission, but I can still instruct." After a few days, Naruto was starting to feel a little weird. One day, he walked out of his room shirtless to go take a shower, when the Tsunami saw him. Ever since then, she would send him looks of lust. Now Naruto knew an opportunity when he saw it, but he'll just have to wait, so for the rest of the mission, he would just have to tease her. It was during a normal dinner conversation that the child, Inari, snapped, "I don't know why you try, you'll all die, it's hopeless. There's no way you're strong enough to beat Gato. You don't know what it's like having a hard life." Before anyone could say anything, there was a heavy presence in the air. They all looked at the figure radiating the killing intent, Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto spoke in an icy cold voice, "This Gato is nothing to me. I have killed over 250 people in my lifetime, many of them far stronger than this Gato. He is nothing. By the time this mission is done, I will have his head." With that, Naruto got up and left, while Sasuke went into the forest to train on his new style. Kakashi looked at everyone, sighed, and then explained, "Both of them have had a hard life, harder than yours." Sasuke watched as his entire clan, a clan of over 90 people, was slaughtered, and Naruto has had people trying to kill him since the day he was born. They all stared at him, but Kakashi offered no further explanation. Naruto could be seen lying on his back, enjoying the stars. When he heard a rustle, he drew too, just in case. He saw a person walking out of the forest in a pink kimono. The person started to gather herbs when Naruto spoke. "You do know you will lose tomorrow, right?" The person started, and then said, "Excuse me. Don't play me for a fool. I know you are that hunter nin that rescued Zabuza," said Naruto. Haku turned around and eyed him. "So, do we fight now, or later?" "Later. Tonight is a peaceful night, the stars are out, the moon is full, a night such as this should not be ruined with spilled blood," said Naruto. Haku relaxed, but still stared at him. "Will you help me gather herbs?" Naruto thought, then decided to do so. They worked in silence, enjoying the task at hand, and when they finished, and Haku got up to leave, Naruto said, "Pink is a girl's color, boys shouldn't wear pink." Haku turned around and said, "What makes you think I'm a boy?" Naruto pointed to his nose, "I have super sensitive senses, I can smell the opposite sex." Haku thought, then bid Naruto good night. Next day. Naruto had spent a good portion of the night working on his new puppet, so he was glad his sensei allowed him to sleep in. So, when he felt the alarms go off, he was really annoyed. He got up and got dressed in a black outfit similar to Kakashi's, and snuck downstairs. There he saw a knocked out Inari. He checked and found the kid. He walked outside and found Tsunami being taken away by 2 samurai. "Hey, do you think the boss will let us have some fun with her?" asked the silver-haired guy. "Of course, the boss always rewards us," said the other guy. "You won't live long enough to enjoy her," said a voice. They turned around and pulled out their sword, only for Shinigami to cut off their heads. Naruto looked at the Tsunami, who looked at him. She then jumped up and gave him a big kiss. "If you survive today, I'll give you a wild night." Naruto would have smiled if he knew how, so he simply nodded his head, then took off towards the bridge. When Naruto arrived, he decided to observe the situation before going in. He saw Sakura defending Tazuna, he saw Kakashi doing battle against Sabuza, and he saw Sasuke trapped in a dome of ice. Haku was feeling frustrated. No matter what he did, the Uchiha always seemed able to dodge his attacks. At first he was unable to, but when he deactivated those seals, his speed increased 20-fold. Then when his eyes turned red, it got even worse. But Haku smelled a victory. The Uchiha was slowing down, getting exhausted. He would strike soon. Naruto stood outside the dome, while he thought. That ice is no doubt chakra reinforced, so I'll need something hot enough to melt it. But then it would only reform, but then how do I get around it? Naruto suddenly got an idea. He unsealed an angel, and had the puppet direct its flamethrowers at the mirrors. Naruto then set the flame to maximum hotness, and let it loose. Haku was surprised, as the ice melted, but he was too weak to put too much chakra into it. When the flames stopped, he was surprised to suddenly see the Uchiha rocket out of there. When Naruto had held Sasuke up, he asked, "How did you get me out of there?" Naruto responded, "I melted the ice, then used my chakra strings to pull you out." The other mirrors melted, and they watched, as Haku walked forward with both hands. "I'm sorry I have to do this, but I cannot allow you to interfere with Zabuza-sama's plan," he said. Naruto looked Haku in the eye, and said, "Your chakra is low, you cannot defeat me." Haku ran forward, forming one-handed seals, which Naruto raised an eyebrow, and sent dozens of ice needles, along with the real ones in Naruto direction. Naruto recalled an angel who wrapped its wings around Naruto and Sasuke to block the needles. Naruto then twitched his finger, and had Shinigami emerge from the shadows. Haku's eyes widened in fear. He jumped to avoid the strike from the side, only to receive a kick from Sasuke in the back. As Haku landed, he was met by Naruto, who pulled out and nicked Haku. Haku lay there, breathing hard. When Naruto spoke, he was covered in poison. "The poison will travel to your heart, and when it does, it will stop your heart, killing you. It is a painless death, you will die in peace." The last words of Haku were, "I'm sorry I failed you, Zabuza-sama." Then he closed his eyes. Naruto walked over and placed a preservation on the body. He was intrigued with the bloodline of Haku. Sasuke went over to Sakura, who offered to heal some of the damage, but she couldn't do much good, since she is still working on the basics. Naruto watched, as the fog lifted, and he saw Zabuza being held in place by dogs, as Kakashi slammed a Chidori into his chest, killing him. Naruto walked over, and preserved the body, and sealed it into a scroll. Kakashi looked at him. "What? He's a former member of the 7 Swordsmen, his skills would be invaluable to me." Clap, clap, clap. They all looked over, and standing there was Gato, with an army of thugs behind him. "So I see how pitiful the great demon couldn't do his job. Well, good thing I brought these men." "Are you there?" he asked. Tazuna stepped forward, and Gato spoke once more. "Good you're here. I have plans for you. When my men are done with these weak shinobi, I'll make an example of you in front of the entire village. First, I think I'll have my men ravage your daughter in front of you and the entire village, and then I'll kill that little brat. Then once you've lost everything, I'll kill you. How's that sound?" Tazuna growled, but then Naruto stepped forward. "I'm afraid I can't allow that." "What's a punk like you going to do?" said Gato with arrogance. Naruto smiled a truly demonic smile. He then summoned his brand new puppet. When the smoke cleared, everyone stared in shock, for standing there was a 3-tailed fox, half the size of a horse. "This is my new puppet." You see, he was initially an experiment, wondering if I could make a puppet based on the infamous demon. You see his fur, well, that is in reality a weapon. If I channel chakra into it, it will spike up, and each follicle is covered in poison. Also, his teeth and claws are made from very powerful steel. Now his true talent comes from his tails. You see, each tail I designed to control an element. Right now he has the ability to control raging white-hot fire, the powerful destructive power of water, and the defensive power of earth. Naruto then pressed a button, and the back opened. Also, the puppet allows me to travel inside, should I be injured or if I am protecting someone. Very useful. Naruto then climbed in, and when he was done, he noticed Gato had raced to the back of the group. "Kill them," he ordered. Naruto charged forward into the samurai horde. His claws lashed out, and sliced open the stomachs of several men, spilling their guts onto the floor. Several tried to strike only for the spiked fur to impale them, as he continued onward. Naruto bit a man on his arm, severing it off, and he watched with amusement as the man screamed, as blood gushed out in torrents. Naruto activated his fire tail, and the tip opened, and sent a wave of white fire at a large group. They screamed for a few seconds before they were incinerated. Naruto continued on with his rampage. He unleashed his water tail, sending a water dragon at a man, and watched as the man's body exploded from the impact. Naruto then jumped back, and used his earth tail to slam onto the ground, sending dozens of spikes into the air, impaling the remaining men. Naruto climbed out, and walked over to Gato. Gato looked at him in complete fear, and he squealed like a pig when Naruto reached into his jacket. When Naruto's hand came out, he was holding a piece of paper, and a pen. "I want you to sign here, and initial here." Gato looked at him, and seeing the cold eyes, did as Naruto asked. Naruto smiled when he finished, pulled out a kunai, and cut the man's head off, and kicked the body into the ocean. When Naruto returned to his group, they all looked at him in shock. Then Kakashi asked, "What made you sign, Naruto?" Naruto smiled, and then said, "I made him sign a contract stating that when he died, 60% of his total assets would go to the people of the wave, while the remaining 40 would go to us." They all looked at him with wide eyes. Then Naruto dropped the bomb. Gato was worth a total of $6 billion. Tazuna, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke fainted with happy smiles. Tazuna house. When Naruto returned, he had Kage Bunchins carry everyone back to the house. He then placed them all into a room with Inari, and he placed a sleeping bag on them all. He then walked out, and into the Tsunami's bedroom. Time to collect. Lemon scene. And Lemon. It was 2 weeks later that the bridge was finished. They all stood at the bridge, and said their goodbyes. The Tsunami gave Naruto a wink, and they set off back to Konoha. Konoha. Once everyone returned, Kakashi set everyone off, but Naruto stayed behind. "Yes, Naruto?" asked Kakashi. "Kakashi-sensei, I know that the Chunin exams are coming up. I ask that you please not nominate us. Instead, let us continue training, and we can take the Jounin exams in another 6 months," asked Naruto. Kakashi thought about it, and then said he would think about it. Hokage's office. After giving his report, the other senseis were called in. "Well, the exams are coming up. Any nominations?" asked the Hokage. "I, Yuhi Kurone, nominated my team for the exams. I, Sarutobi Asuma, nominated my team for the exams. I, Maidogai, nominate my team for the exams. I, Hada Kakashi, do not nominate my team for the exams." Everyone looked at Kakashi. Well, they didn't want to take it. They'd rather wait another 6 months, train really hard, and take the Jounin exams instead. Sarutobi nodded, and dismissed everyone. Naruto. As Naruto was walking down an alley on his way home, he caught the third's grandson in a fight. "Hey you little brat, that hurt," said a kid in black pajamas. "Don't Kankuro, we'll get in trouble," said Tamari. "No we won't, Gar is not here, he doesn't have to know," said Kankuro. He pulled back his fist, ready to hit when suddenly the kid was gone, and he had his scythe on his neck. "I wouldn't do that, the third Hokage's grandson, hitting him could have some serious consequences," said Naruto. Kankuro looked at Naruto, but with a blade to his throat, didn't dare say anything. "You might want to get your red-haired friend out of that tree, I know he's there," said Naruto. In a swirl of sand, Gar appeared. "I apologize for my brother, Kankuro, don't be an idiot, or I'll kill you." Kankuro looked afraid. Gar looked back at Naruto, and said, "What is your name?" "Name's Uzumaki Naruto, yours?" "Sabaku no Gar." With that the sand trio left. Naruto stared after them, something's off. With that, Naruto made his way home. He missed Kar and Mikoto. Naruto's home. Naruto sat working in his puppet room. Kar was watching over his shoulder on how to make human puppets. Naruto was just finishing up, and then he leaned back, and smiled. At first, Kar had felt sick, but after a while she got used to it. Naruto twitched his fingers, and the new puppet, Momoichi Zabuza, leapt to life. This Zabuza looked the same. He still used his large sword, and water. Naruto has also added some new features. 1. On Zabuza's right arm was a special seal that would channel chakra, and create a chakra sword, excellent for surprise attacks. 2. When using the hidden mist, Naruto had installed some new features he hoped to add to his other puppets. He had gone to the electronics store, under a henge of course, and had bought some custom-made, miniature wireless, spy cameras, which also had infrared settings. He then hollowed out the eyes, and placed the cameras behind each eye. Then Naruto had the frequency tied to an eye patch that Naruto would wear, thus allowing Naruto to see what his puppets see. This would allow him to see through the mist, while his opponents are blind. Zabuza would of course be a test dummy. If it worked, then he can begin the installation on his other puppets. After Naruto finished, he went to go climb into a hot, relaxing bath, with both Kar and Mikoto joining him. Sand Trio's room. Kankuro sat on his bed and thought, a puppet master here. I thought that puppet masters were only in Suna. To say he was intrigued with Uzumaki Naruto would be an understatement. Every time he asked someone, they would look around with fear and then say, "Leave that boy alone if you want to live." Finally coming to a decision, he stood up and walked over to the door, only to find his sister on the other inside. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Out, I heard about something that was interesting," he replied. She looked at him and, as if she could read his thoughts, said, "Stay away from him, Kankuro. You heard what those people said about him. If you get killed because you did something stupid, then it's all on you." Kankuro merely nodded and set out. 15 minutes later, Kankuro stood outside the building that was named the Palace of Death. He took a deep breath, walked forward, and knocked on the door. "Who is it?" asked a voice. Kankuro looked up and saw a security camera looking at him. "My name is Kankuro, I come in peace." "What do you want?" said the voice. "I want to talk, I am a puppeteer from Soon, and I want to ask some questions," replied Kankuro. There was silence for a moment, then "You may enter." The door opened, and Kankuro walked in. He soon encountered an Anbu puppet. The puppet gestured for Kankuro to follow him. He followed, and was led to a living room. He sat down in the recliner, and waited. 5 minutes later Naruto walked in, and sat down, Kara sitting right next to him. He also had a group of the Ru puppets enter the room, and stand in the corners, should they have to defend their maker. "Talk," was all Naruto had said. Kankuro swallowed, and asked, "How did you become a puppeteer?" "I was told in Suna that we were the only ones that practiced puppetry." Naruto looked at him with cold eyes, thinking about how much to reveal, and then said, "I am the only person in Konoha history that practiced the art. Before me, there was no one. I learned the art when I traveled too early, as a child, and quickly became adept at it." Kankuro nodded, and thought some more. He wasn't stupid. He knows he has to phrase his questions carefully. Why do you make so many puppets?" he asked. "I make puppets because it is my goal to be known as the greatest puppeteer in the world, the Puppet King," came the reply. Kankuro was starting to sweat. This was the big one, and he took a big breath, and then asked, "Will you train me?" Naruto looked at him, then said, "No. You are not yet ready to accept what it is I can teach. You will need to look into your very soul, and ask yourself if you can accept the darker parts of human nature. For then, and only then, will I consider accepting you, as a student." Kankuro nodded that he expected this. He got up, and was about to leave. A piece of advice. Try to create your own puppets, something that is unique to you, something original, for that is the first step to mastery, said Naruto. Kankuro listened, nodded, and then left. As he made his way back to his hotel, he thought about the advice, my own design, something unique to me. Well, there was this idea I once had. Hokage's office, the next day. Team 7 stood in front of the aged Hokage, waiting for instructions. He pulled out a scroll, and handed it to Kakashi. Over the course of the past several years there was a smuggling operation in a town on the border of fire and lighting. A couple years ago it disappeared without a trace, and has only recently restarted its operations. Over the past decade I have sent shinobi and kunoichi. The shinobi were often found dead, while the kunoichi were never heard from again. This is a B-rank mission, but your team has the best talents for the mission. Your objectives are to find out the location of the main base. Your secondary objective is to find out the fate of the missing kunoichi. Do not, I repeat, do not engage unless the situation absolutely requires it, Sandame said. Naruto asked, why not engage? Kakashi replied, because it is out of your league. Well, you and Sasuke are fairly powerful in your own rights, and with Sakura doing some great catching up, you are still not strong enough to deal with the situation. Once we find the main base, we will call in reinforcements to deal with it. Naruto nodded and stood silent. North Gate, 1 hour later. Team 7 gathered and left. Naruto had decided to take along his cage puppets, his new Zabuza puppet, the Danzo puppet, as well as some Root, Sai, and his puppet. He also took along his puppet kit, and the latest puppet he was working on in case he got bored. Sasuke took along the normal necessities, along with several scrolls detailing a new taijutsu style called Jujutsu, and that's about it. Sakura brought along copies of several medical scrolls, hoping to learn from them. Kakashi brought Icha paradise. 3 days later, Team 7 made their way to the town, called Yuzin, and made their way to the hotel disguised as civilians. Once they were there, Kakashi gave a mission briefing. Okay guys, this is the most dangerous mission you have ever been on. If you succeed in this then you are well on your way to achieving Jounin. For the rest of the day we shall rest, for tonight, we go stalking. That night, Team 7 stood on the roof of a building, overlooking the docks. They were all in black. Kakashi was kind enough to procure the entire team's Anbu armor and clothing. However, each person added some differences. Kakashi had removed his forehead protector and placed it on his left bicep. He instead had an eye patch over his eye. Naruto did the same. The only difference was that Naruto's eye patch was allowing him to see from the eyes of the Sai puppet. Sakura had taken a bandana and had used it to completely cover her hair, making it considerably less noticeable. Sasuke had removed his forehead protector and placed it around his waist, allowing his hair to fall straight down to his shoulders. Okay Naruto, I want you to use your puppet and tell me what you see, ordered Kakashi. Naruto nodded and attached his chakra strings to Sai. Sai jumped down from the roof and made his way silently over to a warehouse, hiding in the shadows. After making sure the coast was clear, the puppet slipped inside and hid behind some crates. He slowly slinked forward until he hid from two men dressed in expensive suits. Is the shipment coming on time? Asked Thug 1. Yeah, you have the payment, said Thug 2. He nodded, and the first one walked over to a large cage. He removed the tarp, and inside was several women, all with shock collars around their necks, and dressed in rags. Naruto stiffened, as he felt incredible rage. The team noticed him, but kept silent. Yeah, the opium will arrive tomorrow night. I managed to hire some extra protection for it, said Thug 2. After getting the information, Sai was about to leave when he caught another bit of information. Yeah, the boss is sending some representatives to oversee this. Can you believe it? He doesn't think we're competent enough. Once Naruto heard that, he recalled Sai and sealed him in a scroll. He looked at Kakashi and told everyone what he had heard. Sakura went green in the face, while Sasuke grew angry. Kakashi remained impassive, but if one were to look closely, they would see fury. Alright team, we will return tomorrow night and gather more information before calling it the Anbu, said Kakashi. With that, they all retired to their hotel to catch some sleep. Next day, Sakura had awoken rather early and was given permission to go procure breakfast from Kakashi. Sakura made her way out and gathered some fruits and eggs and was about to return when she noticed she was being followed. She made her way into an alley, hoping to lose them, when she heard a snicker. She turned around and noticed a person in the alley. She turned to run when she was stopped by someone else blocking her way. You're quite pretty, you know, said one guy. Yeah, I think the boss would like to see you, said the other. Before Sakura could do anything, she was hit in the back of the head, and before she passed out, she got a look at what was on their foreheads. Kumonin. Team 7 hotel room, nighttime. Team 7 was in a panic. Well, Kakashi was in a panic, Sasuke was indifferent, and Naruto didn't care. Sakura had been missing for 7 hours, and with the recent activity of smuggling he was worried as to what happened to her. Okay guys, I think that Sakura was taken by the smugglers, so I'm giving you guys a vote. Should we attempt to rescue, despite our disadvantage, or call the Hokage for reinforcements? Asked Kakashi. Naruto looked up. We should rescue her, we are more than capable of dealing with the scum. Sasuke agreed, and Kakashi smiled at his students, so they are learning. Warehouse. Kakashi, Sasuke, and Naruto stood on the roofs, going over their plan. Naruto, I want you to go and using your puppets to take out as many as possible. I'll provide backup. Sasuke, I want you to rescue as many of the victims as possible. Understood, said Kakashi. They nodded, and Naruto pulled out his selected puppets, as well as his newly completed one. Inside the warehouse. Boom. What the hell? Shouted a guard. A large group of men ran to the doors, only to have the doors blow off their hinges, knocking them back. The remaining guards stood there, swords out, when 5 figures walked out of the cloud of smoke. Naruto walked out calmly controlling Sephiroth, Shinigami, Zabuza, and his newly created puppet, Cloud. Cloud was another human-looking puppet, only like Sephiroth, he wasn't human. He was dressed in a dark purple, sleeveless jumpsuit, with a metal plate on his right shoulder. He carried a large buster sword. His hair was a spiky yellow that could be ejected to impale his enemies. Hidden inside his forearms were separate elemental attacks. On his right arm was a similar flamethrower, as what was on an angel, and on his left was a new invention. When used, it would send an icy black dragon to freeze its opponents, same black dragon from Naruto the movie. As they walked in calmly, Kakashi and Sasuke snuck in from the back. What are they? Asked a guard. Before anyone could answer, it was Naruto that said, I am your death. Shinigami leapt forward and sliced off the heads of 5 members. Zabuza jumped forward, and with Clouds killed another 10 by slicing them in half, spraying their guts all over the walls. It was in less than a minute that he was finished. Is there no one here that can challenge me? Maybe I can, said a voice. The girl walked forward. She had long blonde hair tied in a ponytail. She was wearing a black shinobi outfit, and Naruto noticed she had a cloud headband. Naruto looked at her with intrigue, and asked, so, Cloud Shinobi are involved with this, that is interesting. Though I wonder, as a female, I thought that you would be offended at having to take part in the SAG slave trade. The girl looked at him with a frown. It's not like it was by choice, but it is rather unfortunate that the current Raikage loves this sort of thing. Naruto looked at her, and then said, my name is Uzumaki Naruto, the puppet master of Konoha. I would very much like to know the name of my opponent. My name is Naruto. I look forward to fighting someone like you, she replied. With that they watched each other carefully, then they struck. But Kakashi and Sasuke. The 2 shinobi had managed to sneak in undetected, killing the guards surrounding the cages. It was inside that made Sasuke open his mouth in shock. In the 2 cages were a group of 10 women each, all of them dressed in rags or naked, each one looked beaten and bruised, and each had a shock collar on. Sasuke, concentrate. Once we open the cages we have to carefully remove the collars and escort them out of here safely, said Kakashi. Sasuke-kun, said a voice. Sasuke looked and found Sakura dressed in similar rags with the collar. Sasuke looked at her in shock, then rage. He grabbed the lock and forcefully removed it. As he and Kakashi removed the ladies, they all suddenly dropped and screamed. Kakashi and Sasuke turned around and spotted two people. Shit. Two Kumo Jounin. I had no idea they were involved, not to mention that Sasuke is not ready to fight someone on this level, thought Kakashi. He looked over at Sasuke, who was performing seals to remove the gravity seals, allowing him to fight at full strength. He activated his Sharingan and said, "After what you did here, after what you did to my teammate, I will make you pay," he said. The Kumo Jounin laughed and said, "Teammate? You mean the pink-haired slut? You know, she's kind of a looker. Given a few years she would make a wonderful slave." Sasuke was incensed, but Kakashi put his hand on Sasuke's shoulder as he pulled up his eye patch to reveal his Sharingan. "Sasuke, be calm. Remember what Naruto and I taught you. You must be calm and fight with a rational mind. You are going up against a Jounin. This is your ultimate test. I expect you to perform well." Sasuke took a few calming breaths to relax, then he looked at his opponent, ready to do battle. Naruto. Naruto dodged, as several kunai came his way, and retaliated by having Cloud send a massive blast of fire her way. Uchiha replaces herself with a crate and launches a lighting at Naruto, who simply dodges. Naruto recalls his puppets and has them array themselves in front of him. Uchiha stands her ground, waiting with anticipation. Suten. Suyuden no Jutsu. The water blast from Zabuza took the shape of a dragon and rushed Uchiha. Uchiha did a few hand seals and said, "Doten. Daruki Geshi." She slammed her hands on the ground and the wall exploded, sending debris everywhere. Uchiha took this opportunity and rushed Naruto as the dust was everywhere. She slammed into him and they went skidding into a wall. She throws a right punch and hits Naruto in the jaw, only for him to disappear in a puff of smoke. "Gage Bunshin?" she asked. She jumped into the air as a massive sword slashed where she was. She looked up and saw Clouds and Sephiroth coming at her from the air. She looks down and sees Zabuza jumping up after her. She performed some hand seals and sent a lightning bolt at Zabuza, who used his sword as a shield. She then turned in the air and the sword sliced into her left arm while the other missed. As they landed she cradled her arm. "That sword has a paralysis poison on it, in seconds you will be unable to resist," said Naruto. Uchiha bit her lip, she then started to pull out her trump card and started to draw upon Nibi's chakra. Naruto raised an eyebrow before sealing up his puppets and unsealing them. He climbed in and prepared to face off. Kakashi. Kakashi blocked another strike with his kunai, as the Kumonin he was facing continued to engage him into jutsu. He had lost track of Sasuke in the battle, and was forced to deal with this one on his own. He ducked under right hook and brought his left leg for a leg sweep. The nin jumped over and flipped behind Kakashi, where he threw another kunai which Kakashi blocked easily. Kakashi then ran forward and punched Nin in the gut and followed up with a kick to the side of the head, sending the man into a pile of crates. He then performed some hand seals and sent a giant fireball at the area. When the smoke cleared it revealed that the man had substituted himself with a crate, his hairs on his neck rising. Kakashi ducked as a lightning bolt screamed overhead and slammed into the wall, leaving a scorch mark. Kakashi then blocked a series of punches and kicks and jumped back. He looked at the nin. He was obviously a taijutsu expert. Kakashi then got an idea. He ran forward and aimed a punch for the face. The man brought up his arms to block, and Kakashi then spun around him and hit him in the back of the head. The man fell forward and tried to get up, only to find himself tangled in ninja wire. "Give up. If you try to channel any raiden jutsus, you'll electrocute yourself. And you also can't break out, as I am reinforcing the wires with chakra. Your time is up, die," said Kakashi, as he roasted the man alive with a katen. Sasuke. Sasuke was running as fast as he could, which was really fast. He ran in and landed a series of punches and kicks to the midsection, then ran back out of range. The man tried to use a raiden, but every time he did Sasuke would be gone from his current location. "The man is wearing some leather armor that makes my hits not as effective. I have to get around that," thought Sasuke. Watching Kakashi, Sasuke got an idea. He pulled some wire and ran for the man, using his intense speed, and he wrapped the man up. Then before he could substitute himself, Sasuke pulled out a kunai and slashed the man's throat. Sasuke then sat in a nearby crate, exhausted. "Even with all my training, my stamina is not up to par. I may have beaten this Jounin, but he underestimated me. Itachi is far stronger and faster. I have to find a way around this weakness," he thought. Naruto. Naruto launched his white flame dragon at Uchiha, who dodged and ran at Naruto at full speed. She slashed with her front claws. Naruto countered by using his earth tail to erect a small wall. He used his puppet and ran at full speed right. As Uchiha came around the corner, he slammed into her, knocking both of them into the wall of the warehouse. They tumbled outside, and Naruto quickly swiped her with his claws, trying to inject a paralyzes agent into her system, only to have it burned out quickly by the Nibi's chakra. Uchiha swiped at Naruto, leaving a large gash in the side of the. They jumped back from each other, and Naruto began to consider his options. Their demonic chakra is too potent for my poisons to work. Even my most powerful paralysis poison has no effect. Maybe if I was able to inject her with a large dose of my heart-stopping poison, that may give me enough time to disable her, he thought. Decision made, he rushed at her, and she rushed him. By that time, Sasuke and Kakashi had arrived to watch. They watched as Naruto and Uchiha jumped into the air, and time seemed to slow down. Naruto twisted to his side, dodging the swipe from the girl, while he swiped hard, leaving a deep gash into her side. As they landed, time seemed to return to normal. They both stood on opposite sides, when suddenly Uchiha fell over. Naruto quickly jumped out of the puppet, and ran over to the fallen girl. He injected the antidote, and then he quickly drew a seal on a piece of paper, and slapped it on her forehead, keeping her from summoning the demon's chakra. Kakashi walked over, and asked, well. Her chakra was too strong to use any of my poisons that would keep her alive, so I had to use my heart-stopping poison in large quantities. I quickly injected the antidote so she would live, and I placed a seal on her to keep her from using any more of that chakra, replied Naruto, who was now tying the girl up. Kakashi nodded, then he turned around to survey the damage. The warehouse was falling apart, while several others were on fire from the attacks the two demon containers used. He then walked over to the group of huddling girls, and said, don't worry, we won't hurt you. We are here to help you all. Now if you let me I'll remove the collars, and I can take some statements. Kakashi said a feminine voice. Kakashi looked over, and saw a woman in her early 20s dressed in torn-up rags. She looked vaguely familiar. Rin? He asked incredibly. She nodded, then ran, and gave Kakashi a tight hug. Rin, what happened? I thought you were dead. She sniffed a bit, and went on to explain, I was sent here a number of years ago to investigate the smuggling. I was captured, and forced to be a slave. I was eventually sold to the wreckage himself in Kumo. He used me, as well as a number of other girls, for his perverse pleasure. When I could no longer satisfy him sexually, he sent me here to be sold. At that moment Kakashi felt an enormous amount of rage course through his body. He wanted to hunt down, and kill whoever got in way. Rin senses her former teammate's distress, and hugs him even tighter, sending a wave of calm over Kakashi. Sasuke, meanwhile, was helping Sakura remove the collar. He had overheard his sensei's discussion, and even he felt the need to kill this wreckage, which was confusing him to no end, because he swore to never feel such emotion again. The other slave girls walked over to Naruto, and he looked up. One of them stepped forward, and said, Sir, may we know your name? My name is Uzumaki Naruto. The girls then all at once got down on their knees, and proclaimed at once, we live to serve you Naruto-sama. Kakashi, Rin, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto looked on in confusion. Then Naruto spoke, excuse me. The girl who spoke earlier, whom he guessed was the spokesperson, said, we have nowhere to go. When we were taken from our families, they were all killed, so that we would know that we have no hope to escape. We have nowhere to go. Can we please come with you? Again, everyone looked at Naruto, even his own teammates. He looked to Kakashi for help, only to find the man had a perverted grin under his mask. Naruto thought, and finally, okay, you can come with me, but you can only stay temporarily. They all nodded, and returned to the hotel room. Several hours later, Naruto, Kakashi, Rin, Sakura, and Sasuke were standing around a chair. Tied to the chair was the form of Uchiha. She still had the seal on her forehead, and she was staring at everyone. I'm only going to ask this once, what does Kumo have in this operation? Asked Naruto. Uchiha looked at him, and seeing those cold eyes that promised much pain, answered, the wreckage ordered me to come here to secure the transport, and the village itself doesn't have a stake in the operation, only the cage. He uses each and every one of the slave girls as his personal toy. Everyone noticed how she spoke with a bitter voice about the man, so Naruto continued, what is that seal on your neck? She looked up in surprise, and so did everyone else. Reluctantly, she answered, that seal is a more powerful version of the collar that the slave girls have. He uses it to keep me subdued, to take anger out on, and to make me submit to his will. He would use it to make me do things to him, to forcefully have sex with him. That man is an evil deviant. She yelled. Everyone looked on in shock, except Naruto, his eyes just darkened. I can remove the seal, he said. Uchiha looked up at him in surprise, but it's not without a price. If I remove the seal, you are to never return to Kumo, and you are to never be a shinobi in a hidden village again. You will serve me, just not in the way that you are used to. Everyone looked on in shock again, and were even more shocked when Uchiha agreed. Naruto turned around at everyone, and said, leave. Once everyone left, Naruto untied Uchiha, who stood up, and starched. I will require you to get naked, and lay down on the ground, said Naruto. She looked at him like he was a pervert, but all she got was cold eyes, so, feeling like she had no choice, she stripped, and laid down on the ground. Naruto walked over and looked at the seal on her neck for several minutes, and then he asked, how did the Reikage activate the seal, and how did the pain come? He would form a hand sign, and it felt like he was coursing electricity throughout my body, replied Uchiha. Naruto continued to look, and finally said, you're wrong. Well, it may feel that he was pushing electricity into your body, what he was doing was different. The seal was designed to take your own chakra and convert it to electricity, thus the torture. I can merge the seal to you, and it would take the chakra already taken from you, and give it back. It may also give you an affinity for lighting, a strong affinity at that. Though it will take practice to get used to. She nodded, and then shivered, as Naruto pulled out a brush, and started to paint seals around her body. 15 minutes later, she had seals on her arms, legs, stomach, and other parts. Is that really necessary? She asked. Naruto looked at her, and replied, chakra is distributed all around the human body. If I were to focus on only a single point on the body, the chakra overload would burn out your coils, and you would most likely die. I have to paint all these seals over your entire body, so that the chakra stored in the seal will be forced to distribute itself over your entire body, thus allowing for the absorption process to be less risky. She nodded, and allowed Naruto to gently roll her over, so he could paint her back, and the back of her legs. When he was done, he rolled her over again so she was facing him. He then performed some hand seals, and slammed his hand onto her seal, Fune. Naruto watched, as the chakra erupted from the seal, and spread over all the seals he had drawn, and how it was all absorbed. Uchiha hissed in pain, but otherwise kept silent. When it was done, Naruto watched, as the seals he drew disappeared, and the seal on her neck broke apart, and was absorbed into her skin. Noticing she was asleep from exhaustion, he laid her in bed, and pulled some covers over her. He walked out to see his team waiting. It is done, but she now requires rest. They all nodded, and went to their separate rooms. Next morning, Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, Uchiha, Rin, and the several women that have pledged themselves to Naruto, stood in front of the gate of the village that they were about to leave. I have an idea, said Naruto. I think we should make a side trip to Wave, and allow these women to live there, at least temporarily, until I am able to provide proper lodgings. Is that acceptable? He asked. Kakashi looked at his team, and after receiving nods, he looked at the women, who nodded reluctantly, and they set off to Wave. 3 days later, Wave Country. Naruto walked over the 2 front doors, and knocked. It was a few minutes later that opened the door. Hey. You're back, please come on in, he said. Sorry Tazuna-san, but we don't have the time, said Naruto. So, after explaining the situation to the man, he agreed to set the women up with housing, and since the Wave was a very prosperous country, it wasn't difficult. Several days later, Konoha, Hokage's office. Team 7 reports that the B-rank mission is a success, said Kakashi. After giving a rather detailed report, Team 7 was witness to a very rare sight. Their Hokage was radiating massive killing intent at the report he had heard. But upon confirmation that the operation was shut down, at least for now, alleviated his anger. Once the team left, Naruto and Uchiha sat in front of the third, and Naruto gave his report on the seal on Uchiha, and what her fate will be. Naruto, do you really think it is wise to have a now missing nin in the village? Asked the third. Naruto nodded. Yes, she is tied to me, her actions will reflect upon me. The third nodded, and Naruto continued. I also have other business to discuss with you. I would like to leave the village, he said. The third wasn't surprised. He had expected this for quite some time. How about this, when I die, I will leave it in my will that you be given the same rights as the Sannin to leave the village, how's that? Offered the third. Naruto nodded, and left the office. Out of the shadows, a white-haired man stepped out. Is that wise sensei? The third looked at Jiraiya, his former student, and replied, when he was gone on the mission, several villagers thought it would be wise to try and level his home, and to kill the woman he was living there. Luckily the traps he set were very effective in preventing that. I believe that it is only a matter of time before he goes and kills the entire village for their stupidity. He has the power and the intellect to do it. Jiraiya stood silent, and then he was shocked at what his sensei said next. I am dying of Jiraiya. My heart is beginning to fail me. I have about 2 months left, and that's assuming Orochimaru doesn't end my life sooner. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.